Hello guys, welcome to another maths lesson. So today's LA is written methods of multiplication. Our aims is to be able to use written methods to work out our different multiplication problems, and then the success criteria. I want you to set out your questions correctly and always starting from the right hand side of your problem. So just like in your addition and subtraction, you are always start from your ones column. Exactly the same as today. I want you to always start from your ones column. And then I want you guys to understand some different methods, but to become secure in just the one, that is the expanded multiplication. But we're going to get onto that. So as always, guys, we're going to have a starter, which is at some fluency on the left-hand side, and then some reasoning and problem solving if you can do that. So first, do your fluency. So I want you to use your favorite method that we did from last lesson and work out the below. So you got 23 times 3 and 42 times 4. So on your piece of paper and with your pencil, have a go at these. If you finish that, then you can get onto the reason and problem solving. So in a moment, we ask you to pause it. Once you've finished, unpause me and I will go through it and we can see if you've got it right. Okay, guys, so pause. Okay. So I'm just going to do these in my head because I can't really write with this mouse. So firstly, 23 times 3, I would split, me personally, with my method, I would split this big number and I would partition it into my 10s and my 1s. So I would have number 20 and the number 3. So I would do 20 times 3, which in my head, well, I know that 2 times 3 is 6. Therefore, 20 times 3, I just need to multiply 6 by 10, is 60. Then I would do 3 times 3, which is 9. So the answer for this one would be 69 because I've added them together. Next, again, I would just partition 40 and 2. So I would do 40 multiplied by 4. Well, I know that 4 times 4 is 16. Multiply 16 by 10. I just move it one place value to the left. And it is 160. And then 2 multiplied by 4, I know that is 8. So 42 times 4 is 168. And then, guys, if you dig onto your reason and problem solving, it says Teddy has calculated 19 multiplied by 3. So I've got 19 lots of 3 here. So this is what we're doing, I think, this at the end of last week. So it says here 20 multiplied by 3 equals 60. And then he's done 60 take away 1 equals 59. So therefore, he's worked out 19 times 3 equals 59. Can you explain his mistake and correct the diagram? Now, what he has done here, we know that one lot of 3 is 3. So if 20 multiplied by 3 is 60, we need to not just subtract 1, like he's done here in our representation over here, we need to subtract 3. So if I get my pen, I can put it in black. Instead of just subtracting the 1, we need to put across through this and across through this, because that is one lot of 3 less than 20. So therefore we need to do 60, subtract 3, and 60 subtract 3, I know that is 57. So well done if you did get that one right. Now, today's session, we're going to be looking at a variety of written methods, but we're just going to be focusing on one in particular. So the first one that we're going to look at is the grid method. Now, I'm sure that in year 3 you will have done this. So our grid method looks a little bit like this. So always at the top left, we have got what we're going to be doing to the problem. So we are going to be multiplying it or timesing it. So we put that at the top left of our grid. And then I put my 30, so I partition it into my 10s and my 1s. So I've got 32 multiplied by 6. That makes it much, much easier for me to work out. So I meet my 2 in the middle and I would do 6 multiplied by 30 and I would put my answer in here. Then I would do 6 multiplied by 2 and I would put my answer in here. So I know that 6 multiplied by 3 is 6, 12, 18. But remember, it's 6 times 30, so I need to multiply 18 by 10. 18 multiplied by 10, well, I'll just move it one place value, don't I? and I know that is 180. Next, 6 times 2, nice and easy, I know that is 12. So now, that is not, I don't just leave my answer like that, because then it doesn't give me the full answer of what this is. So then underneath, I must do 180, add 12, nice and easy. Or I could even show as a column addition. Do my ones, 0 add 2 equals 2 ones. In my tens, 8 tens add 1 10 equals 9 tens. And then in my hundreds, 100 add 0 hundreds equals 192. Wasn't if you were working through that with me. So now I want you guys to have a go. So on our grid method, I will set it up for you. So our multiplication, so we've got 5 multiplied by 40. Remember, the answer for this one goes in this box, the first box. And we've got 5 multiplied by 5 goes in this box. So I'll give you a few moments to do that. And then once you've finished, I'll go through it. So I'm going to ask you to pause it in a second. We'll go through it afterwards and have a go. Okay, so pause. Right. So again, I've partitioned my 40. It's my 5. 5 multiplied by 40. Well, I know that 5 multiplied by 4. So 5 lots of 4. Or 5, 10, 15, 20. 20 multiplied by 10. I know that must be 200. And my next one, 5 multiplied by 5. So 5 lots of 5. I know from my TT Rockstars, 25. And then underneath, to get the correct answer, I need to add these up. So 200 plus 25, again, nice and easy. I could do this as my column addition, but really I think in year 4 we should be able to do this in our heads now. 200 plus 25 equals 225. Well done if you did get that one right. So now we're going to be moving away from our grid method onto our higher level way of working this out. So this is the expanded grid method. My expanded multiplication. So I have set out our calculation of 36 multiplied by 4. And you can see I have perfectly lined up using my place value, my hundreds, tens, and ones, and I've put my 30 in my 3 in the tens, because that's 36, and the 6 in the ones. And then underneath, I have put my 4 in my ones column. For this method, it is so crucial that we use our place value that I know that we've all done in last term. Because if I decided to put 36 multiplied by, and it was 4, but I put the 4 in the tens column, that wouldn't then represent the number 4, that would represent 40. And the answer, straight from the beginning, from the step 1, would be incorrect. So it's really, really important. And I've even put here, the first step is to lay out your calculation correctly in a grid. So I understand that the exercise books that you've got for your home learning don't actually have squared paper on it, so it's even more crucial that we do use our place value when you spread out your numbers and you do line them up correctly. So once that you've laid out your calculation correctly, the first step that we're going to do, again, I always said that we're going to start on this right-hand side. So you're going to work out the ones. So it's 6 multiplied by 4. That's my first step. And this is on this line here. I'm going to work out 6 multiplied by 4. So instantly from my TT Rockstars, I know that 6 multiplied by 4 is 24. And I'm going to write that into my expanded multiplication grid. And I am going to put my 4 in the ones column and my 20 in the tens column. So I'm lining this up perfectly. So it really does look right. Next step, so we've done the ones. So now we're going to move on to the tens. So now we're going to work out 30 multiplied by 4. So we're multiplying this number by both the 6, which we've already done, and the 30. So I know that 3 multiplied by 4 is 12. I need to multiply that by 10. So 12 multiplied by 10 is 120. And you see as well, I've put my 0, so my 120, 1 in the hundreds, my 100, 2 tens in the tens, and then the 0 in the ones. If I decided to, and I wasn't laying this out correctly, and I put the 12 right here, when it comes to this next section, it will get really confusing. So it's so important that we spread out our hundreds, tens, and ones. So it really, really does make sense. So that's our multiplication, expanded multiplication, but we don't just leave it like this. To get our answer, we then need to add these two up, just like we did in our grid method, adding these two up. So just like a column addition, 4 ones add 0 ones equals 4. 2 tens, add 2 tens is 4 tens. And then finally, nice and easy, hundreds, we've got 0 hundreds, add 100 is 100. So my correct answer, 36 multiplied by 4, is 144. Don't worry if that was a little bit tricky, because I'm going to go through one more on the next one, and then the next one after that, you guys can have a go at doing it. So the next one, 47 multiplied by 6. So my first step, I have laid out my calculation correctly in a grid. So my ones all line up, my tens line up. I've got what I'm going to be doing, my multiplication just here. First step, I'm sure some of you will, if we're in the classroom, you will have your hand up now. First step, always on the right hand side, our ones, we need to multiply our ones together. We need to multiply 7 times 6. So I might know from my TT Rockstars, I know that 6 times 6 is 36. I add another 6. 36 add 6 is 42. Again, I have lined in my ones column, my 2, in my tens, I've got 40. Again, if I put my 4 here and I put scrunched up 42, that'd look like I had 42 ones, and it would just get really confusing for our last step. So we need to make sure really lining it up correctly. I've done my ones. Next, onto my tens. 40 times 6, or 4 tens times 6. Well, I know that 4 times 6 is 24. 24 times 10, 240. Again, my hundreds lined it up, tens lined it up, my ones lined up, so it makes this next step really easy. I then add these together. 2 ones, add 0 ones is 2. 4 tens, add 4 tens equals 8. And then finally, 2 hundreds, add nothing is 200. So my correct answer, 282. So now, I want you guys to have a go. So on your exercise book in front of you, on a piece of paper, line these up. So write this out in a grid and line it up. So in your tens, you got 2 tens, 29 multiplied by 4. So that's the first step, lay it out correctly. Next, do your ones. So you're going to do 9 times 4. Then work out your tens. And then add them together. So then in a moment, I'm going to ask you to pause it, work this out, and then we'll go through it afterwards, and we'll see if you guys have got this correct. Okay, so pause. Okay, by now you should have completed this. Let's see if you've got this right. So first step, I've laid this out correctly. Second, work out my ones. So 9 times 4. Let's see, so I know that 9 times 4 just from my times tables is 36. So remember, I'm going to write this 36 into my ones, so my 6 into my ones, sorry, and my 30, or my 3 tens in my tens column. Next, my tens. So work out 20 times 4. So I know that 2 times 4 is 8. 20 times 4, therefore, must be 80. Again, I am writing it into my tens, 8 tens, and 0 ones. And then finally, I need to add these up. 6 add nothing equals 6. And then 8 tens add 3 tens, or 3 tens add 8 tens is 11. So I put my 1 here, and I exchange my 1 over. So then 1 add nothing in the hundreds column is 1. So its correct answer should be 116. Don't worry if you did get this one right, did get this one incorrect, sorry. Well done if you did, but on the next one, you get another chance to have another go. So make sure that you're following our steps. So our first step, lay it out correctly, work out the ones, work out the tens times 4, and then add them together. So next, 49 times 8. So remember, lay it out, work out the ones, work out the tens, and then add them up. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to pause, work this out, we'll go through it, see if you've got it right. So pause. So work out first my ones. So 9 times 8. Well, I know that 8 times 8 is 64. If I add another one, it must be 72. In my ones column, I'm going to put my 2. In my tens, I'm putting my 70. Next, work out 40 times 8. So in my tens, I'm working out 40 times 8. Well, I know that 4 times 8 is 32. Multiply 32 times 10. I know that is 320. And finally, my last step, I am then going to add these together. So in my ones column, 2 add nothing is 2. 7 tens add 2 tens is 9. And then 0 hundreds add 300s is 300s. Well done if you got that one right. And last one. So now I'm not going to give you any steps. So usually on the right hand side down here, I have said, so first you need to do this, next you need to do that, next you need to do that, next you need to do that. I'm going to leave that blank. So see if you can do it. I'll give you a clue. First, we always start from the right hand side, and then next we go on to the a little bit further left. Try and work it out, and we'll see if you can get it right. Okay. At the moment, I'll ask you to pause it. We'll go through it, then off you go. Right, pause. Right. Let's see if you got this right. So first, I lay it out correctly. So hopefully that you've got your ones in a nice line, your tens, and then your hundreds. You've separated this all out so it's nice and clear. Next, we work out the ones. So 7 times 7, I know that from my times tables, 49. 9 into my ones, and the 4 tens or the 40 goes into the tens column. Next, I work out in the tens, so 30 times 7. I know that 3 times 7 is 21. 21 times 10, 210. And final step, I add these together. So 9 adds 0 is 9. 4 tens add 110, 5. And finally, 0 hundreds add 200 is 200. Okay. Now, guys, I want you to complete some worksheets. Again, you have a choice as always. And again, you do not need to print this out. You can always copy from the worksheet onto a piece of paper, as you guys are very much used to that normally at school. There are 3 worksheets. You can either complete one of them, you can complete 2, or you can complete all. The worksheets go from 1 to being the easiest and probably the most simple, all the way to 3. You choose. Remember, if you only complete for example, you complete worksheet 1 and you find that a little bit easy, it might be worth maybe next lesson going on to worksheet 2. Challenge yourself. It's always good, and that's what I want to see. I want you guys to be making a few mistakes and really challenging yourself. Then, as always, guys, once you finish, upload your work to Teams or Class Dojo, and yeah, you're all doing wonderful. So that is the end of our session. Thank you for listening and watching, and I will see you in the next one.